Hello and welcome to another Star Citizen monthly report going over what Cloud Imperium have been working on over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now in April 2025. There is quite a lot of updates on ships and vehicles here, so I'm pretty excited because we've got Fleet Week coming up in May. Let's just jump straight in. So the UK vehicle content team have completed the Drake Golem mining ship and Argo ATLS Geo mining power suit. But there's lots more they've been working on. The MISC Starlancer TAC, the TAC variant, the combat variant of that Starlancer, has moved into final development, while the Consolidated Outland Pioneer, that epic base building, crafting, mobile base, but also mobile base maker, has progressed through White Box, benefiting from the additional concept work shown during the recent episode of Star Citizen Live. An unannounced vehicle successfully passed the grey box review and moved into its LOD 0 phase. Two other vehicles received a bug fixing pass and a final content work ahead of their release, and another new ship is currently being prepared for its grey box gate review. The North America team progressed with two upcoming RSI ships. First, the Apollo successfully passed its white box review gate and moved into grey box, with support from the concept team on the medical room design. Some aspects progressed significantly due to utilization of the extensive RSI kit created for the Zeus and Polaris. This is one of the reasons they've been working on a chain of RSI ships and have a load of reusable assets between them. The second ship here is the RSI Perseus, which passed through its white box review at the start of March. Like the Apollo, some areas progressed visually thanks to those RSI kits. Work continued on three unannounced vehicles too. A variant of a popular ship passed through grey box review. Another variant is approaching grey box review, while an all-new model entered production in preparation for its white box review in early April. We know that CIG are working on an RSI Mantis variant, heavy strike fighter for that, as well as an ATLS combat suit. We have a light fighter coming from Kruger. Lots and lots of combat ships and vessels. And that's important because May is coming up, which also means Fleet Week. So expect a lot of combat ships and vehicles to turn up as part of Fleet Week. Some people think that we're going to see pretty big ships and some new ones as well, and that's a maybe. Expect a good amount of what was mentioned there to be released during April and May. Obviously, things that are in their white box phase or whatever, they are very unlikely to make it into May. There's a good few months left on getting them ready, but we could also see some like medical ships and stuff like that because they are supporting ships for the military and for combat. Let's move on to the core gameplay team. The team there, they completed the Atlas Geo's mining and thruster functionality. They also added a health bar and damage states and supported additional improvements to the base ATLS. They also implemented the first version of the weapon overheat mechanic to the Volt Parallax energy rifle, which enables the player to engage a secondary fire mode at the risk of overheating. More weapons will gain the overheat mechanic in the future. Progress was made on engineering gameplay throughout the month. They also added auto throttling, which reverts to a lower or powered off state if an item doesn't have power during an update, and they worked on various resource network issues. Changes were made to vehicle coolant. Now, effectiveness is based on an item's physical properties, with a specific amount of coolant counteracting heating caused by an equal amount of power. Coolant consumption uses deltas with a dynamic override. The maximum coolant requested is based on maximum power consumption multiplied by a resource network global parameter. They've also progressed towards implementing heat gameplay for ship thrusters. This involved adding filters to the engineering UI to allow players to only see items of a particular category, for example, all weapons or all items with malfunctions. Selection improvements were also added to the user interface. Now left click will cycle through the two closest items, useful for doors covering components, and right click will show all overlapping items and allow selection. Work was completed toward item recovery tier 0, with various items being added to blacklists alongside fixes for related respawn flow issues. Progress was made on FPS radar and scanning. Now item components can be detected within vehicles while a player is inside and excluded when outside. The features debug tools were also improved. There's an ongoing transit system rework. This has progressed throughout March, with the team adding setup validation and debugging for non-physicalized carriages to better detect setup issues. The ability to connect carriage zones by a transport network needed for minimap routing was added, as were destination categories and priorities, along with the means to display destinations on carriage panels. A reward mechanic for collection missions was implemented, which is used for the collector missions, while the ability to automatically retrieve items from freight or ship elevators via HUD notifications were added. For the mission system, the team fixed a bug preventing introductory contracts not counting toward difficulty progression. Sharing prerequisites was also implemented. This allows players to invite others to accept contracts they would otherwise be ineligible for, providing they meet a specific requirement, such as reputation. Improvements were made to NPC comms calls and the new player experience. Improvements were also made to commodity kiosks to give a better flow for transactions. The economy team provided balancing support for supply or die, with devs deeming it overtuned on release. Economy worked with mission design to address the issues as quickly as possible without imposing hard limits. Going forward, both teams will collaborate more closely to establish a stable and holistic approach to balancing open-ended missions with multiple variable solutions. CIG said, "Our aim is always to maximize player choices and enable emergent gameplay while also balancing against exploitable patterns." Mission design continued to fix up some older missions. Alpha 4.1 was unveiled to the community, introducing a new sandbox activity that players can engage in for unique items. There's a big push for increased production value on missions, with a lot of departments helping out to ensure the experience is the best we can get. But it also appears that CIG don't want to ignore the older missions. They want to bring them up to the sort of current standards and evolve them somewhat. They also worked on Rari and Wicklow, the two new mission givers who require items found during the new missions. Narrative. Aligning with the increased release schedule cadence, Alpha 4.1 was a major focus for the narrative team for the new Hathor orbital mining facilities. This included adding discoverable datapads around the site, polishing numerous missions that utilized the new locations, and working with art to improve directional signage. The patch release also brings the major milestone of Star Citizen's first alien NPC, the Banu trader Wicklow, and they said, "We had a lot of fun creating the character and making the Emporium a place players would enjoy exploring." Narrative also ran a capture session that focused on adding dialogue to several upcoming missions, as well as introducing two new faction representatives who the players will work with during specific contracts. They helped to refactor some older missions with updated contracts. There was also work refining some locations that are coming to the game later this year to make sure they provide a richer narrative experience. Tech design spent time on an upcoming in-game event supporting mission design with gameplay entity and logic flow setup. Online services worked on the first pass of the services ecosystem to support upcoming development by the gameplay teams. Various social improvements were made, including optimizations to kicking members from groups. The mission system was updated too. The graphics team, they overhauled GPU memory management. This allowed them to add new options, a visualization of the GPU memory required for each, and auto detection for suitable resolution, upscaling, and graphics. Glass clouds received a major visual upgrade thanks to the same density shaping and shading technology used by planetary clouds. Global illumination was upgraded too, with improvements to image stability and accuracy of both diffuse and specular reflections. Planet Tech V5 continued to make good progress, with the team finalizing the distribution and shading of much denser rock formations with more physically plausible placement. The virtual terrain system is also close to completion, with runtime compression being worked on next. The VFX programming team polished several features such as fire, networking bandwidth for damage maps and creatures. Vulcan stability was also improved after discussions with NVIDIA led to the diagnosis of two potential issues, one in the driver and one in the game. VFX progressed with their tasks for the Valakar, the little sandworms. They also supported the locations team with effects for Alpha 4.1's new mission locations, including the orbital laser platform, borehole, cave, and satellite dish. R&D. We talked about the gas clouds getting improved, but they've also worked on dynamic weather. The rain volume calculation was improved. I'm very much looking forward to dynamic weather and storms and stuff like that coming into game. I just like the way this sort of stuff looks. The animation team continued developing various sizes of the Valakar, alongside making updates to the Copians. They also updated AI background animations and added disabled animations to the Argo ATLS. New AI facial animation content was completed too, including for the Banu mission giver Wicklow. The character art team continued to work on a new creature for the Persistent Universe alongside Starware Art Debt. They also kicked off new heavy armor and continued creating various rewards. The concept art team also explored ideas for new in-game rewards and armors. AI features priority was the Valakar with a submerged and maybe relocate behavior when the player gets close. The team also iterated on the Copians, integrating new chase technology for more effective attacks, including a leap. For human combat, iteration continued on the first reaction flow escalation, specifically focusing on the animation setup for usables so that it works well if the AI is sitting in a chair, leaning on a railing, or crouching to inspect a maintenance panel. The team also progressed with reaction animations for when AI detects compromised cover. This allows NPCs to appear more responsive to the actions of the player and react appropriately to new threats. AI Tech continued to work on features that will improve overall detail and quality, including finalizing work for the spatial priority solver and priority beacon system. They also integrated these features into the navigation pathfinder and tactical point systems to better help prioritize and solve requests sent by NPCs close to players. Improvements were also made to 3D navigation for spaceships, and NPCs in EVA are also being made. Boom! That's your update from the Persistent Universe monthly report this time. Lots and lots and lots of updates to ships here and work well beyond 4.1. So we're looking at 4.1.1 here, but also looking at 4.1.2 and going a little bit beyond that. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited for some of the stuff that's going into potentially May's release for Fleet Week here. I suppose it's April and May's that we're looking at, because we're going to see a update at the end of April, an update at the end of May, and Fleet Week, well, it's in between the two. And for people that don't know, Fleet Week is a big ship sale and expo in Star Citizen, focusing mostly on combat and military ships, but also ships that support them in combat. Yeah, it's run over like 10 to 14 days typically. There's like a free fly, and you can try out huge amounts of ships for free. They also release a load of new ships and vehicles, and they have like the fleet flying around, so big ships like the Bengal sometimes, and Javelins and Idris flying around, and tours of some of these interiors of these ships like the Javelin or the Idris. And with a big content focus this year, we could see a lot of interesting stuff happening during that Fleet Week event, so really excited about that. Anyway, I'm really interested to know what you think might turn up over the next couple of months in regards to ships and vehicles in game. What do you think those ships and vehicles that they talked about at the start of that monthly report? Are you excited by anything? Are you super hyped by the potential of an ATLS combat suit? Obviously, we've seen teasers in the Persistent Universe already at Wicklow's. A good reason to comment is because we have a ship giveaway every month, and this month of April we are giving away 3 Drake columns individually to 3 lucky winners. These also come with a game package, lifetime insurance. They're cool little mining ships. Just comment on any of my videos made during April to be in for a chance of winning one of those 3. What's that? NordVPN? Yes, go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer or click the links down below for a huge discount on the best darn VPN we've ever advertised on the channel. It's better for accessibility and security and privacy on the interwebs. We've got other links down below as well. They give us a little kickback. It helps the channel and also might get your product that you would like, or maybe a friend would like. Like maybe you like to click on the join button or like, share and subscribe. That would be good. Thanks very much for watching. Yeah, chuck a comment down below. I'll read it, and that helps work out what I'm going to do for the next video. Or sometimes I'm just responsive to the news. I don't know. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great April.